My top 3 workout programs for skinny guys. There are thousands of different workout programs at your fingertips. One simple Google search will give you many different options, but you always ask yourself the question, which is best for me? Today I want to go over 3 different workout programs which I'd highly recommend if you're trying to bulk up. But why listen to me? Well, I'm no big bodybuilder and I admit that, but hi, I'm Joe. And if you've never seen my face before, I'm naturally very skinny. Originally weighing about 55 kilograms at 6'2", which was classed as underweight. I'm now about 85 kilograms at 6'3", which is classed as a healthy weight. Again, I'm not extremely massive or extremely ripped, but the progress I've made I'm pretty happy with. I've tried vast amounts of workout programs in my whole time of lifting, some which have worked wonders, and some well, let's just say that they haven't. The goal of this video is to give you 3 different workout programs which have worked extremely well for me, and hopefully I can pass them on to you. One of these workout programs is a brand new one which I'm currently using now. Never been heard or seen before because I recently just made it. But without further ado, let's get on to the programs. Okay, so I'm going to set these programs out into beginner, intermediate, and then a little more advanced, not fully advanced. So for the beginner program, and what I'd say, if you've not been lifting for over about 5 months, would be the Jason Blaha 2.0 split or just the Jason Blaha 5x5. It's a complete preference on which one you want to choose, but they both, well, they make you strong as f***. The workouts are just consisted of heavy compound exercises mixed with progressive overload. If you're a regular on this channel, you'll know how much I preach these 2 combinations. A heavy compound lift is just a lift which targets multiple muscle groups while you're doing it, for example a squat, a bench, a deadlift, compared to an isolation exercise which is something like a bicep curl which only targets one muscle, i.e. the bicep. For skinny guys, compound lifts are extremely important because you're training many different muscle groups at one time, meaning you're building up many different muscle groups at one time, mixed with progressive overload. Now progressive overload basically just means increasing your lifts over the sessions. One example of progressive overload could be increasing the weight each session. So let's say for example you're squatting 80 kilos for 3 sets of 5. The next session you want to go in, you want to squat 82.5 kilos for 3 sets of 5. The next session 85 kilos for 3 sets of 5, so on and so forth. Now this form of progressive overload is what is used in this Jason Blaha split. There's many more complicated and less extreme versions which you have to use later down the line once you're past your beginner gains, and that is mainly why this program is for people who are just starting out or have just got back into it or haven't really taken the gym seriously. By far the fastest way to increase your lifts, and if you increase your lifts you're gonna get a lot bigger physically. I remember when I was on this program I increased my squat by 40 kilos in just 7 weeks, and that made crazy changes to my leg definition and leg size. I'm gonna briefly go over the 2.0 split, but I'm gonna leave in the link in the description a full video from Jason Blaha himself explaining the program. It's a 3-day-a-week full body split. You start with back squat on every session for 3 sets of 5, then bench press for 3 sets of 5, then either barbell row or deadlift, then the standing press which is the military press, and then you just finish off with some accessory work like bicep curls, tricep extensions, whatever you want. The workouts will last about an hour and a half, and in between each heavy lift you want to have about 2.5 minutes break, making sure to track your lifts each session, so making sure that you're going up in weight every session. If you can't go up in weight in a session, go back down a tiny bit and then work your way back up. Workout option number 2 is kind of a more intermediate-ish program. Now, this is kind of when you've increased your compound lift relatively well. You're starting to plateau when just trying to increase the weight. And it happens, I'd say, after about 4 to 5 months on the Blaha program. When I say plateau, I mean not like just the odd plateau, I mean you just generally can't increase your lifts with that style of workout. The program which I'd recommend from here, it's one that I used afterwards and it worked well. It's a 4-day-a-week upper body, lower body split. Now before I go on, some people are asking why is it always full body, upper, lower? Why is it not like chest on one day, back on the other? That's called a bro split, and that means that you're only training your muscles once a week, which is extremely inefficient. You want to be making sure you're training your muscles at least twice a week with your workout program, because training them twice a week compared to once a week is going to equal more gains. So yeah, I think you can understand. Here is a photo of the program, so if you want to take a screenshot of that, do. Now this program on the upper days does primarily target the chest. I noticed that a lot of skinny people, including myself, can never really get the chest up. It's always a lacking muscle group for us. Again, that's not for everyone. I'm just saying a lot of people that I've spoken to, it was like that, and it was for me, so that's how I designed the program. But if you want to add more shoulders into there, do so yourself. So the first exercise in the upper day is a bench press. Now it uses a different form of progressive overload, which doesn't increase the weight faster, but over a certain amount of time, it's kind of like the only option you've got. You can't increase the weight every time. This is where you're increasing the sets. So let's say one session I go in and I'm benching 60 kilos for 3 sets of 5. The next session I want to go in and bench 60 kilos for 4 sets of 5. The next session, 60 kilos for 5 sets of 5. And then finally, once you've done that and you've completed that, go back down to 3 sets of 5, but increasing the weight. So 62.5 kilos back down to 3 sets of 5. I then do incline bench, which again, I try and do a form of progressive overload with that. Dips for 3 sets till failure. Again, I want to try and increase the weight on my back while I'm doing my dips. Just adding like a backpack will be helpful. Then pendlay row, which is, you may not have heard of it. It's an extremely good back exercise and it helps with other lifts like the deadlift. Finally, I do a bit of standing abs, face pulls, and just some tricep and bicep work. You can choose what you want to do for that. I use bands. For the lower body days, the progressive overload is the exact same as the bench press. So I'm doing a certain weight for 3 sets of 5, then 4 sets of 5, then 5 sets of 5, and then back down to 3 sets of 5 with more weight. For the lower body days, I start with box squats. Now, you can choose between box squats and normal squats. I'd highly recommend trying box squats because they did work wonders for my legs. But again, it's completely up to you. The form of progressive overload on this is I try and do it as increasing weights for 5 sets of 5, but over time, I just couldn't increase the weight, so I did the same progressive overload as I do with the bench press. 3 sets of 5, 4 sets of 5, 5 sets of 5, back down to 3 sets of 5. Then I do sumo deadlifts for 5 sets of 1, working on that 1 rep max because I'm trying to increase my sumo deadlift strength. Glute bridges for 3 sets of 10. Pendlay row again for 3 sets of 10. I work the pendlay row on every upper and lower session. And then good mornings. These are deadly. They absolutely kill, however, they are extremely good for your lower back and hamstring strength. Highly recommend / highly would never want to do it. So that is the second split for the more intermediate kind of lifters. So my final program is the program which I made about 2 weeks ago, and since using it, I absolutely love. I wouldn't say this is an advanced type of split. I'd say it's still in the intermediate range because I can never like class myself as advanced, but I'd highly recommend it. You may never have heard of this type of split, but it's a push, pull, legs, rest, upper, lower split. So it's 5 days a week, and it kind of just adds a bit more volume compared to the upper, lower split. For the push day, I would say start with bench press. For me, I've got a little bit of a left shoulder injury, so I do the shoulder press, but if you don't have a left shoulder injury like me, do the bench press. The form of the progressive overload is a little like the upper lower split in the fact that you do 3x5, 4x5, 5x5, but then instead of going back down, I finish off with an extremely intense 6x6 with the same weight, and if I can complete that, I'll go back down to 3 sets of 5 but increasing the weight. Once you start doing it for a while, you need to add stuff like this in. I then do dips for 4 sets of 10, trying to make sure that I increase the weight which I've got in my backpack or my belt every time I do dips, and trying to keep the reps around the same. Trust me, dips are so underrated. They've blown up my chest a lot. Like, I've not got a massive chest or anything, but they have helped my chest out a lot. Then I'd recommend doing some shoulder press. This can be with dumbbells or barbell for 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. Dumbbell raises or dumbbell flies for 3x10, and then finally finishing it off with triceps. That can be whatever you want. Tuesday is pull day. Start that with deadlifts for 3 sets of 5. Again, progressive overload. Pull-ups 4 till failure. Pendlay row 3x10. Lat pull down 3 till failure. Shrugs 2 till failure, and then just some bicep exercises. Wednesday is legs again, and I'm doing box squats, but you can do normal squats. Progressive overload is the exact same as the bench press. Then I do lunges for 3x10. Lunges are the worst exercise I've done. They are the most painful thing, but I have noticed some significant quad gains while doing them. It's just if you have the balls to do them every session. Then good mornings for 3x12, and then to finish it off, if you want to do some calves, do some calves. But everyone knows me, I'm like the worst at calves. Okay, and then you have a rest on Thursday. Friday, you're up to upper body, military press with progressive overload, pull-ups for 4x failure, dips 4x10, pendlay row 3x10, and then biceps and triceps. And then to finish off the week, you've got a lower body day, which is deadly, box squats with progressive overload, deadlift for 3x5, lunges for 3x10, and then glute bridges for 3x10. Finish it off with calves if you want. Talking about this program, I'm going to do an upper body session with my mate James. Let's do it. Yo. Alright, this 300 milligrams in a full scoop of that. Good luck having sleep tonight.
Like a diamond from gold. Maybe you are something I cannot define. Maybe you are the fallen chord.
So I'm just editing this video. I didn't realise that I didn't film an outro, so I just want to say thanks for watching. It took quite a while to edit this video, so I'd appreciate it if you could just drop a like. If you're new or if you just haven't, because people generally don't, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe. Use this program as you will, take some inspiration from programs, make your own. Just hopefully it could help in just the slightest way. Thanks for watching, guys. Oh yeah, also do rate the fresh trim. Yo, what's up guys? Hope you're having a great day. As you can see, not that many people who watch the videos or actually subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it if you could just hit the subscribe button. Yeah, cheers guys.